And hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Star Trek Adventures Avenger. For those of you that are turning in for the first time, welcome. We're playing the Star Trek Adventures role playing game by Modiphius. And if you don't know what a role playing game is, it's pretty simple. I, as the GM, set the scene, run the universe, act as NPCs, and more or less be the judge of the rules. My players then act out their characters, occasionally rolling dice to determine how successful they are at certain actions. For Star Trek Adventures, you want to see lower numbers. A 1 is a critical success, and a 20 is a critical failure. There's a lot more to be said about this, but you'll get a better idea seeing us play than me just monologuing at you. Before we begin, I'd like to give a few shoutouts. First, to my wonderful players who are returning from the Arcadia game that ended a short time ago. Second, to Vectober, who did all the token art for the Avengers senior staff. Third, to Jester David for compiling the intro you just saw a few moments ago. And last, to Modiphius for coming up with a tremendously fun system. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Like most episodes of Star Trek, we're going to start off with a captain's log. So, Captain Voss, if you would.
March 3rd, 2162. First entry, Captain's personal log. I am en route to the orbital dry dock facility where my new command, the USS Avenger, is finishing up a refit. Unlike previous commands, I did not have a choice on the officers and crew assigned to this vessel. Newly established Starfleet Command has assigned crew I am to command. I'm not quite sure if this is a test of my capabilities to lead or to haze a newly appointed Tellar captain. Either way, I'm going to rely heavily on the new crew since after doing a crash course at Starfleet Academy, I have discovered that interactions with other species can be interesting. This crew seems to have been picked to fill a species diversity quota, but the selections have an excellent record, and I find no reason to disqualify their choices. I have been a captain of a ship of some sort for almost 30 years, with mostly a Tellarite crew on each ship. With this mixed group of species and the regulations and rules I know I have as a captain, will take some getting used to how Starfleet wants me to complete things. I understand that the Avenger has a colorful history. I hope that I can continue to add to her impressive service record, and that I don't add to Starfleet's growth problems by starting a war a light year out of space dock. As a Tellarite, I am a calm and thoughtful person. It seems to all other species inhabiting this galaxy I may be a bit abrasive. I look forward to see how my staff handle the situations I unwittingly create. Because of the large amount of species that the Avenger is going to carry, we are one of the first ships to be outfitted with a multi-species technology, allowing some spaces and areas to change their environment. As a newly minted Starfleet captain, I am proud of this. As a Tellarite, I expect the Avenger to come apart at the seams 2 weeks out of space dock, which would make it easier for the enemy I make next week to end us. Complete Captain's Log. Encrypt for personal views only. Password: humans make rooms too cold 02 Alpha.
Very good. So, as it just so happens, you are currently in a shuttlepod en route to the orbital facility. Oh, let me mute my phone. Sorry about that. You are indeed en route to the orbital facility where the Avenger is waiting, and the four of you are currently in that shuttlecraft. Now, there is probably about 10, 20 minutes before you actually arrive, and I figure this is the perfect opportunity for us to go around and introduce our characters. So let's go ahead and start with the captain, and then we'll go clockwise on this map. Again, if you could just state your character's name, their species, any physical characteristics we should know about, and then if you have something you'd like everyone to know, this would be the time to share it. So, Captain, let's start with you.
I appear to be a older Tellarite, maybe in my early 60s. I don't stand real tall as most Tellarites. However, I'm not quite as rotund. I'm a little more slim. My hair is reddish with a mix of gray, and my appearance is that of deepened thought, kind of judging everybody around me in a Tellarite type of way.
All right. Up next, we have Ensign Morris.
even though this is a tiny little shuttle pod, as soon as the captain walked into the pod, I said, "Captain on deck," and was really awkward about it. Ensign Morris is a young human male at about 21 years of age. If you look at him, you'd think he was still in the academy. Otherwise, he's average height, pretty slim build, with a very no-nonsense attitude. He keeps his hair very trim and short.
Okay. Up next, we have Lieutenant Rollins.
Lieutenant Rollins, human, 5 out of 5 beard. Has some light burn scarring on the right side of his cheek. Probably just viciously staring at a data pad. Gave all the proper salutes and whatnot when the captain came on board.
All right. And then we have Lieutenant Junior Grade Reinhardt, or as we're all going to call him, Lieutenant Moose.
So Moose is sitting off in a corner, looking at a data pad as well, but he's kind of hunched. He's a big guy. He stands about 6'5". He is not in typical uniform, actually. He has a different variety of boots on. They're clearly steel-toed. They look more like combat modified. He does have the lower half of the traditional jumpsuit uniform on, but he has a modified top. Because, as you can see, he's a big guy. And he's just holding a rucksack underneath one arm, and he's looking at a data pad, and he's just eyeing everyone every now and then, just giving a nod.
Alrighty. So, as said, there's about 10 to 20 minutes before you actually get to the orbital facility, and I'm just curious if you guys would broker the silence, or if you would literally just sit there awkwardly until you get to the ship.
Oh no. Captain looks at Ensign Morris. Ensign Morris, could you increase the temperature in this cabin by about 3 degrees Celsius, please?
Aye, sir.
We need to make sure this is a good, comfortable temperature. This temperature here, that's how I want my bridge to be.
Well, you may have some trouble with that, sir, with many of the crew.
Yeah, privileges of a captain. They can deal with it.
We might have to install some sort of cooling devices at some of the stations.
Cooling device can be installed. But, Captain, if you want to stay warm and toasty, I can recommend some fine thermal long johns. You can wear underneath your uniform, keeps you nice and toasty.
We have a chief engineer in this group? I'm trying to keep track of who's
Yeah,
who.
I suppose that's what we missed off. So, real quick, Captain, we are obviously know what you're doing. What is Morris doing so that everybody knows?
So Morris's official assignment on the Avenger is as astronavigator, but he has a dual role between helm and science operations. He's not going to be leading any science efforts, but he is in charge of all of the sensors on the ship.
Cool. And then Rollins, real quick, what do you handle?
I'm the security officer, so tactical, pew-pew.
Okay. And then Mr. Moose.
Chief engineer and semi-computer expert.
So in that case, Chief, can we talk about some heating in my chair?
Sure. Yeah, I can get right on that after I do full diagnostics on the warp core and everything.
I remember reading something that humans used to have something in their ground transportation called heated seats with little buttons.
Yeah, if you want to be pampered, sure. Definitely get you something to pamper your bottom there, Captain.
Yes, I need this, please.
You probably read my service record, but I'm Julius Reinhardt. Most folks in Starfleet have You can call me Moose.
I'll take that under advisement.
I'll respond to either. So, have you looked over her specifications, Captain?
Oh, at your leisure, Chief. You can send those to me.
Here you go. He'll just hand him a data pad.
Okay. Captain will review those, but he's really not reading much. He's just kind of looking at it, nodding, while he's thinking about something completely different.
Chief Moose? Is
Yes,
that a
what is it?
reference to a Canadian background?
It's, kind of. It was a nickname a friend had. He passed away, I inherited it.
Understood.
Yeah, you can call me Moose. And, you, Rollins. Where do you see combat at?
I fought in the war.
Oh. Oh, we have to compare stories sometime then.
I mean, there were a lot of explosions. I'd imagine it was the same for everybody.
Most of the time. Other times, less explosions. More sneaking.
I am excited to see all the refits and see what all gets upgraded.
Well, they put her through her paces for sure. When they brought her in for the refit, they actually stripped her right down to her keel. They removed almost everything. That's why she's been in dry dock for so long. They, did a good job, though, integrating the new secondary hull to the primary saucer. It's gonna be fun getting back and forth.
And just then, as you're mid-conversation, all of you realize that the engine hum has stopped. And if you literally look out the front window, you see that you're not moving anymore.
Ensign?
Ensign, report.
Looking now, sir. I'm looking now.
Okay. I would like you to roll our very first roll of the game, so don't jinx it. I need you to roll me a insight plus con, and if someone can grab the shuttle pod will be assisting you with a computers and con.
Oh, okay. What's the difficulty?
The difficulty here is going to be all of a 2. I say all of a 2, that's the standard difficulty, but I'm confident that Morris can do it. And if not, it'll be funny, and it'll lead to good roleplay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
somebody
right, let
wrote
me
in
see
shuttle
here.
pod.
I can do the shuttle pod, yeah.
Okay.
Computers com.
Computers
All right,
con.
I'm gonna do the thing and ask for 1 die by giving you threat.
Okay,
Just
so
one.
1 die for 1 threat.
And does helm operations come into play?
It definitely does. Look at that, you're fine. Well, I say that, okay, good, no complication.
And then, as a youngster with my untapped potential being what it is, I've succeeded at a task after which I bought dice with momentum or threat. So I get to roll a challenge die.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we get an extra momentum and you get an extra threat.
Very nice. I'll take it. So, with your 2 momentum of success, you're going to realize 2 very important things. And remember, you can spend momentum to ask additional questions. The first thing you're going to notice is that the port nacelle, well, I guess not really a nacelle, the port engine block, literally next to where Moose is, well, you know what I'm trying to say. It has had a cascading failure in it. Something about the block has failed, but unless you open it up and start looking, you're not sure what. And the problem is because it's a cascading failure, it basically spread to the other side of the engine, and now you're pretty much dead in the water. The good news is you're not in danger of, say, deorbiting. You're far enough up away from Earth that you don't have to worry about gravimetric effects, or at least not for a very long while. But you are kind of in between places at the moment. You're still about 10 minutes away from the orbital facility, so you're not even close enough to sort of see it in the distance yet.
We've still got our momentum, though, right?
I would say that it's that sort of Trek thing where you glide to a stop because space is weird and there's sort of fluid dynamics to it. But yeah, you're dead in the water.
Captain, there was a cascading failure in our port engine block. Attempting to diagnose the cause now. Can I do that? Or is that a momentum spin?
I would say that would be an entirely separate task, and it might be better suited for Moose.
And Rollins is going to move slightly away from the engine block.
Moose is going to reach into his rucksack and pull out the engineering tricorder.
Okay.
He's going to scan away.
All right. You're going to roll me a reason and engineering. The difficulty here is a 1.
Also, do we still have power in the shuttle pod currently?
I would say that you have backup power, so thankfully life support is still going, but yeah, nothing that involves propulsion. And your weapons are offline too, if that matters.
Communications.
I would say communications are online as well, yes.
Okay. So,
EPS.
we'll go, I was just going to say, while Chief's doing his checks, I'm going to inform the ensign to contact control.
Okay.
Aye.
EPS for focus or emergency repairs for focus?
Either would apply. Your difficulty here is only a 1. Look at that, another momentum. So, you guys, with your 3 momentum, are now going to know that Chief Moose, the reason why the engine failed is because someone, not naming any names, but someone who was in charge of maintaining the shuttle pod, basically neglected its maintenance cycle, and the plasma inverter, which helps cool the engines, basically has fried. It's an easy fix if you had the parts on you and you weren't in the middle of space, so you're kind of stuck at the moment unless you figure out a way to basically jumpstart the right side of the engine.
Alright. Moose is just going to stand there for a second, tap on the little console next to the side here, punch in some little, whatever program, and he's going to stand up, and he's going to rear back his boot and kick it.
Ah, yes, the holy rite of percussive maintenance. Roll me a challenge die. Why not?
Yeah.
Is the ensign getting any communication back on the comms?
Yeah, let's deal with that. So, Ensign, do you hail orbital control? Do you hail the Stardock control? Which control do you hail?
Orbital control.
Okay, so the very calm and clear voice of orbital control says, "Shuttlepod NX09-1, what is your emergency?"
We have had a cascading failure of our port engine block. We have lost all useful momentum.
Would you like a tow? We can send a shuttle pod to tow you to your destination.
Turning back at the captain.
Yes, ensign. Tell them to. We'll report in about 5 minutes. Prepare a tow ship and launch on our request.
Understood. Orbital, we will request that tow in 5 minutes, see if we can't figure it out over on our end.
Roger that, NX09-1. Please keep us informed. Orbital command out. And yeah, Chief Moose, with a 2 on the challenge die, you give the engine a good kick and starts to sputter back to life. Or at least the right side does, anyway.
You should be good. I'm going to choose someone out there about this. He just sits back down, pull up his pad, go back to reading.
Alright. So, Morris, I'd like you to roll me another insight con, please. The difficulty here is only going to be a 1.
Same focus.
Same focus. All right, with the 1 success, you're going to realize that you've got enough power and enough momentum at this point to get to where you're going, but you're looking at the readouts that the engines is feeding to the computer, and Moose has basically bought you maybe another 5 minutes of thrust. After that, you're going to be solely relying on your own piloting skills and maneuvering thrusters. So you'll get where you're going, but you're going to have to do a manual docking.
Understood. Captain, our fix is going to get us there, but only just. I'm going to have to do all manual piloting with the maneuvering thrusters once we get in close.
That's excellent to hear. Ensign, let's see your skills at piloting this pod.
Nothing else, we could test out the tractor beams, right?
I will say, if you scratch the paint, you're going out there in a suit to repair it.
Understood.
Yes, tractor beams are for unskilled pilots.
All right. So, after a few minutes of flying, you come to the following sight out of your window. And I know it's the actual NX that we see here, but it was the closest I could find. But it is everything that you could hope for in a Trek show. You are treated to a glorious flyby of your ship, the NX-09, the Avenger. You see that there are still some minor things being wrapped up on the hull, but for the most part, she looks like a real beauty. She is, of course, the Columbia refit of the NX class, recently outfitted with the multi-species technology. You've got Andorian shielding, you've got, I believe it's Denobulan tractor beams, you've got the latest and greatest phase cannons. You also have the best in torpedoes. In short, it's everything you could ever hope for. And not to ruin the moment, but we do have a manual docking on our hands. So, Mr. Morris, I'm going to spend some threat here. Normally, this would be difficulty 2. However, I feel like messing with Morris a little bit. So, I'm going to spend some threat, and I'm going to make this a difficulty 4, and the complication range is a 19 to 20. Now, the other bad news is that the shuttle pod will not be assisting you with this. This is purely going to be either a control or a daring plus con. The control will be if you do things by the book, and the daring is if you try to be a little bit fancy to show off for your captain.
I'm curious, can I use 2 momentum here as if this were space combat to do 2 actions in a row?
I would say you could, however, you would be better suited to spend that on momentum, I think. Unless, well, what do you have in mind of doing? Let's ask that.
My first one is the shot. The thought is I'll chart a course, and then with my second one, actually maneuver. And when I do that, I don't increase the difficulty on the second one.
Ah, I see. All right. Let me very quickly pull up that page. Actually, did I put the references as like I was supposed to? I did not. I was a bad GM. I'll do those later. Okay. Do you have the task handy for that? Because my PDF is being slow.
So yeah, plot course is difficulty 3, but it's assisted by computer's con.
Okay.
And since I directed him, can I use my direct talent?
Sure. Let's do it. All right. So instead of spending it on 4 threats, you know what? I'll keep because this is an inventive solution. So yes. So Morris, you're doing a reason con, and this time the shuttle pod will assist you. It will be a computers in con, so someone could get the shuttle. Captain, you are rolling a presence and command. Remember, you're rolling 1 die because you're assisting.
Yep.
And
Presence
the overall
and command.
difficulty is a 3. And it looks like the shuttle pod has rolled a crit.
Oh, nice. All right. Reason con.
God.
All right, Captain. Captain gets you that, and with one success, so that is a grand total of 1 momentum that you gain. You're up to 4. And yeah,
What's our current? What did you say the complication range was?
19 to 20. So you're good.
Well, I've got technical expertise. I can re-roll this 0 since the computer assisted.
It's up to you,
But-
my man.
If we're already beating it by 1, yeah, let's leave it.
It has to say, let's not run that risk.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
but
Oh.
hold on. Oh, I didn't buy any extra dice. Never mind. Okay.
But you will have to spend the 2 momentum to do the next task, so you will go down to 2.
Okay. And now instead of difficulty 4, it's going to be difficulty 3.
Correct? And
Awesome.
this is, again, either a control or a daring plus con.
I'm going to say since I plotted the course, it's going to be control.
Okay.
It's the same number either way. And I am going to buy a 3rd die.
Okay, so go down to 1 momentum. Look at that. Look at that. You're fine. So let's see. So difficulty 3. So I believe you're now at a total of 3 momentum overall. Very nice. So, Morris, since you succeeded so well, why don't you describe how you bring the shuttle in?
Well, the course was pretty well laid out, and I just follow it to a T. It's a series of. It's not so much that any of the turns are completely tight. It's just they all have to be timed perfectly, and I was able to do that.
All right. So, just in time, as you said, you use your maneuvering thrusters to spin the shuttle pod very gracefully, and with a few thrusts to the bottom of the shuttle, you very gently and very carefully bring the shuttle pod into the landing bay of your Avenger. And
Oh wait,
oh,
I'm gonna do my challenge die at the end to see what happens.
Oh yeah, because we could get more. Yeah, some more threat from
One
me.
of each, and one for us.
Yeah. So yeah, after a few moments, the shuttle bay doors close. They seal up. The atmosphere begins to vent in, and you see a green light indicating that it is safe to disembark.
Captain will
Open the
stand up.
door for the captain.
Oh, yes. Captain stands up, looks at my fresh ensign who just piloted the shuttle pod into the bay. Good. Seems you're paying attention to your training. And just walk out.
Thank you, sir.
So, where is everybody headed so that I have a accurate representation of where people are?
Moose is heading to engineering.
Figured.
Captain's going to his stateroom
To his stateroom. All right.
first, yes.
Yeah, I suppose Rollins will go to the armory.
Okay.
Morse is going to stay put and start to work on the shuttle as soon. Well, I guess he needs to wait for it to cool down, but he's going to put his stuff away and then come back with an engineering kit.
Alrighty, noted. So, since Moose said what he was going to do first, we're going to cut to Moose. And I know that technically this isn't how the refit one works, but it's the best deck plan I could find. So anyway, Moose, you step into engineering, and it's a flurry of activity. There are some people still with space dock who are, tying up loose ends, but for the most part, looks like a complete engine. She's already humming along, and really, there's no reason that you're seeing an inspection, that you couldn't launch right away.
Okay. Moose is going to stand there for a second and look at everyone, and then he's going to call it very loudly. All engineering crew of the USS Avenger, line up.
All right, so there's a flurry of activity as those not with space dock hastily line up, and they all stand at attention. I would say overall you have about 10 officers that are on duty at the moment. Well, let me take that back. It's a mix of officers and crewmen.
He's just going to walk up and down the line just for a moment. He's gonna look at a pad. He's like, "Who is Neil Anderson?"
That would be me, sir.
Step forward.
He does.
On every ship, an engineer needs an assistant. The assistant doesn't have to have any particular rank needed for it. You are my assistant engineer. Everyone else, I am your chief. Will call me Moose. I don't want to hear any other name besides that. And you just look at them for a second and crack his big smile. I'm also not a hard ass. Just giving you guys a bit of a tease. First and foremost, though, is I want everyone, 15 to 30 minutes before the end of your shift, to submit a report to either me or Mr. Anderson here about any equipment you've worked on, any issues you may have encountered. Give your ideas of possible solutions. Submit it to us. Do not talk about it with anyone else until we have submitted it to the guys back at Fleet. Understood?
There's a resounding yes, sir. But then, after maybe about 2 seconds, one of the crewmen says, "Sir, I have a statement for you."
Proceed.
May I speak freely, sir?
Sure.
Thank you, Chief Moose. To put it bluntly, sir, the people at Space Dunk have done messed up, to put it lightly. Our tractor emitters, while they claim they are operational, I wouldn't trust that thing with a space rock, to be honest, sir. I don't like the look of any of it.
Well, that's what our job is now. Our job is to integrate these systems into ours, or find a way to replicate the technology on our own without needing their blueprints. We're going to reverse engineer or potentially design our own tractor emitter. But for now, we have to get used to them until we can start progressing further.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir. And he steps back, and different crewman steps forward and says, "Sir, while we're airing our grievances, I would like to report that the new shield array is drawing far too much power for my liking. I am unsure whether or not we could maintain warp and shielding at the same time."
Excellent. All of you, submit your complaints in writing form to either me or Mr. Anderson. I can stand here all day listening to you complain about the new technology we have integrated, but I think we need to get this ship space-worthy and ready to leave dock in probably short notice. Agreed?
Another resounding yes, sir, across the line, and they do wait till you dismiss them.
We are going out there with a bunch of new tech. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to see a lot of trouble. I need all of you to make sure you can handle the pressure of a firefight. If that's outside or even within the deck itself, I need you all to keep working. With that said, dismissed. Have a good day.
All right. And they very quickly filter off to write reports, finish up any last-minute tasks, things of that nature.
I'm going to put my hand on Mr. Anderson's shoulder.
Yes, sir?
Who was responsible for the shuttlepod repair, or the care of?
That look on my pad to look at the maintenance report?
You see, and I'm literally making this NPC up on the spot, you see that it was Chief, or not Chief Petty Officer, regular Petty Officer, Sarah Jensen.
Yes!
No.
It looks like it was Petty Officer Jensen.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to go over to the panel on the wall and press a button and ask for Petty Officer Jensen to meet me in Shuttle Bay.
Okay, so the moment you push the button on, to call her, a panel next to you on the wall literally pops open, and sure enough, a petty officer, a woman. She's little on the shorter side. She has engine grease on her face. It looks like she's been crawling in the ducts for quite a while, and she says, "Who's calling? Oh, sir!" And she very hastily climbs out of the tube and dusts herself off and snaps the salute. "Sir, I apologize, sir. I was cleaning the ducts."
Oh, don't worry. You're going to be cleaning much more in a second here. Tell me, do you know what happens when someone starts to freeze to death in space?
I hear it's very painful, sir.
Yes. What would you say if a shuttle pod had stopped functioning in space, middle of nowhere? No one to tow it, no one to get it back, no ship around to pick it up.
I'd say that it would be good if I had people to eat in the pod, sir. And she says that with a nervous laughter, but you could tell that she feels like she's probably in trouble based on your tone.
Go to the shuttle bay. Shuttle pod 1. You're going to pull out the engines, both left and right, and you're going to rebuild them from the ground up. I want you to only do that until it is complete. I want you then to do a level 1 diagnostic on every instrument in that shuttle.
She looks a little confused.
Why the confusion there, Ensign? Or petty officer?
Well, Chief, you sure it's -1, right?
It's the shuttle pod that we came in with the captain.
Right, -1. Sir, I literally rebuilt that engine before I sent it off. I wasn't going to have the captain... I know it looks bad on us as engineers if we, fail mid-space. You're telling me that it failed?
Indeed. So, if that's the case and you did rebuild the engine, I'm going to prescribe to you the exact blueprints of a standard thruster engine for a shuttle pod. I want you to duplicate that to the precise detail within the manual and guide.
No offense, sir, but I did things by the book. Can you tell me what component failed?
What was it? It was the plasma inverter failed.
The plasma... Sorry, sir. I don't know if... Of course you do. You're the chief engineer. I apologize. But as you well know, we are using Tellarite heat sinks now, and I believe we may have gotten a faulty one. We've had the same problem with other heat sinks that we've used, and I believe that's probably why your engine failed, sir.
Let's look at her for a moment. Very well. Then I suggest you develop a backup measure. If the primary heatsink fails, the secondary should kick in. Go work on it.
Can Anderson verify that?
I would say if Anderson went with Jensen to go check out the shuttle, it would be very obvious very quickly that, yes, everything Jensen is saying is true. She actually, in comparison to the old Jensen, she seems to have a good head on her shoulders. She seems to know what she's doing.
So I would kick in that I can verify that as well, sir, that we have had faulty components given to us.
Very well. Give me a list of all the components that have failed, and I'll make sure to give a very thorough talking to the dockmaster and the supply chief. And let's verify the other components that are not Starfleet, that they're up to code.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give you all 2 hours to do this.
It'll be done, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. And as that goes on, let's go to the Armory, because the captain thing I think will work towards the end of this little side scene stuff. So let's go to the Armory. And Rollins, you are rolling on in. So, in terms of Armory, it actually looks very nice. It's very well kept. There is, of course, a crewman on duty. But you see that you have your expected complement of warheads, both nuclear, I can say words today. You have your complement of nuclear warheads as well as regular warheads. You also see that you have a backup phaser control, well, not phaser control, photon, what do you have? Phase cannon control? There we go.
Yeah.
You have your backup phase cannon control here. You also, strangely enough, have a backup tractor beam control here as well. It pretty much looks like that if ever you couldn't do tactical from the bridge, you could do it here as well.
Excellent. So I check in with the officer on duty.
And the crewman says, "Sir, I'm happy to report that we have our full complement of torpedoes. The only thing I'd recommend, sir, is that the port firing tube is a little rusty. And by that I mean, sir, is the last couple test torpedoes we fired sort of scraped the sides of the tube and didn't fire at quite the right momentum, sir."
Well, yeah. Well, let's take a look at that.
Of course, sir. The other thing to note, sir, is that we have already told engineering this, but our tractor emitters are, I believe it's faulty, sir. To be blunt, I'd rather much prefer the grappler cables.
Well, anytime we get new technology, it'll take a little while to get used to it. Do we have specifications or any training material that came along?
We do, sir. The manual is about as thick as this warhead here, and he motions at the one beside him.
And have you read it?
I have read the important parts, sir.
Okay. And what you're reading does not coincide with what we're experiencing?
Correct.
Well, maybe we can look at doing both or checking out both at the same time. Maybe tractor beam something launched from our torpedo bay.
All right, which would you like to focus on first?
Torpedo bay for
Okay.
because engineering might come in and help us later with the tractor beam.
Gotcha. So I'd like you to roll me a Insight Security, please. Difficulty 1.
Shipboard tactical systems?
Mm-hmm. I'd let that apply. Very nice. 1 success. That's all you need. So you quickly identify why the starboard side of the torpedo tube isn't working properly. It is simply because there are some, shall we say, discrepancies between the proper width and length and thickness of the surrounding material. It seems simply like a design defect where the person in charge or the materials used for this particular tube, they did not do it exactly to specifications. And even though it's, maybe a millimeter off, that millimeter is enough to matter.
Well, I turned to the other gentleman. What was his name again? Or
I haven't given him a name, but I can certainly make one up on the spot.
Up to you.
Give me one moment. Let's make him a Andorian, and I will generate you a lovely Andorian name. Let's see. His name shall be... Oh, those are horrible names. His name will be Thakir.
Okay. Is he ensign or?
He is just a crewman.
Crewman Thakir, do we know who was in charge of installing this or refitting?
Not off the top of my head, sir. We could check with Spacewalk if you so wished.
We'll want to do that. We'll want to put in a note that whoever was in charge of this installed it incorrectly or was not following the specifications they were given.
Understood, sir. Is there anything else you'd like me to focus on?
Well, I mean, we could take a look at the tractor beam. So if we'll want to get that fixed. Something that fine-tuned, we might want someone from engineering.
Of course, sir. All right. So up next, we're going to very briefly check in with Morris. So Morris, are you still going to do the whole shuttle thing, or did you want to go somewhere else?
I'm going to assist whoever... Yeah, I'm going to keep working on the shuttle.
All right. In that case, we're going to cut to the captain's ready room. And again, I do apologize that there, are random NPCs on the map, but such is the state of the maps. But in any event, Captain Voss, you head into your ready room, and
Intruder alert! No.
Yeah. It seems someone has done their homework, because when you step into your ready room, it is your preferred temperature.
Yes. So I walk in, and you see I mean, if there's a camera in this room watching him, you would see a notable exhale as he kind of, for the first time, just kind of relaxes and kind of lets himself get a little loose. He gets in his console chair and he contacts orbital control, since nobody told him that we made it back safely.
Okay. So it's a very brief conversation with orbital control. They, same calm, cool demeanor, and they just say, let us know if you need any further assistance. And, unless you keep them on the line, they do have an entire planet to run. So.
No, just to give him a heads up. I don't want him to leave him hanging.
Of course.
I open my terminal and I start reading through the service records to take specific note of the people who rode in the shuttle pod with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also contact Starfleet Command and ask them when my XO is going to arrive.
So, as fate would have it, before you can enter in the command to contact Starfleet HQ, you actually get a hail from them.
Great. I open comms.
All right. So on screen is I would say, a very robust gentleman. He has a very impressive beard. I'm talking Fu Manchu levels of beard. And he is of Asiatic descent. And you note that he is wearing the rank of a admiral. And he says, Captain Voss, this is Admiral Jensen. I trust everything is all right.
Yes, sir. As of right now, we had a little issue with our shuttle pod, but I'm having my engineers follow up very quickly.
Well, you'll have time to do it in transit. We need you and the Avenger to immediately proceed to the following coordinates. I have a set of orders here, which I will also transmit, that you are to proceed to these coordinates and decommission as much of the ordnance that is at the location as possible.
Very well, sir. Will we have any assistance on site?
No, you will be the only vessel in the area. However, there is a automated defense system. The codes for such will be provided in the transmission.
Understood, sir. Anything further?
More of a personal matter, Captain. I understand that my granddaughter is on your ship. I believe she's serving in the engineering capacity. I don't want you to treat her as an admiral's granddaughter. I would like you to make sure that you treat her as you would any other member of the crew.
Sir, I will treat everybody on my crew equally and fairly, as their rank and position warrants.
That's what I like to hear, Captain. Well, you leave immediately, and Godspeed out there, Captain.
Very well, sir. We will report when the mission's complete.
Admiral out. The screen goes dark.
Okay, so before anything else, I bring up the service record of the the admiral's granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we know who that is because we've already talked to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not inform anybody else on the crew if she doesn't inform them herself.
Noted.
Bridge, this is the captain.
So a yeoman replies, this is the bridge, sir.
What's the current staffing of bridge?
We are just waiting on our pilot to get up here, sir, but we can leave immediately if you so wish.
Okay, then I will be on the bridge shortly, and then I do a ship-wide comm and say senior staff report to the bridge immediately, and then I close comms. I stand up to my full height, and I prepare myself to go into the cooler areas of the ship, and I step off in transit to the bridge.
Gotcha. So I'm going to leave it up to Moose whether or not Moose literally shows up to the bridge. But Rollins and Morris, you two would definitely show up.
Oh yeah, we don't got a ready room on this bad boy, do we?
Not really. You kind of have your stateroom that you were just in, and that's about it.
Yeah. I keep forgetting how limited this ship was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
We've got the glowing sticks behind us.
You do.
sorry, something crossed my mind. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to say that. So, I'll wait like maybe 3 minutes, and if nobody else shows up, I'm gonna start the briefing.
Okay. Moose, would you show up?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let me get you on the map then. Let's say you chill over here.
Okay.
And yeah, of course there's other crewmen at the station, but in terms of importance, the only other character of note at the moment is Ensign Chatol. She is a Andorian woman, probably stands about 5'8", so she's a little on the shorter side, I suppose. But you see that she is wearing a Sciences Blue uniform.
Okay. Did I ever get a response back as to when my XO would arrive?
No, unfortunately. That was kind of overlooked. The Admiral very curtly sent you the relevant data, and it's more or less what he told you. There's a set of coordinates. There are instructions to decommission whatever weapons are there, and then there are the codes for the defense system, and that's about it.
Okay. So the first thing we do is let's get out of this space dock, and then we'll while we're in transit, we'll discuss the mission. Ensign, let's go ahead and decouple from the space dock and prepare to get underway.
Demagnetizing coupling links now.
All right. So, Morris, I know we've picked on you already, but let's pick on you again.
Mess me up.
I would like you to roll me, again, either a control or a daring plus con. The ship will be assisting you with engines con, so if someone could get the Avenger. And I'm going to spend some threat here. The difficulty is a 3.
What is this task to do?
This is literally to get the ship out of space dock without scratching the paint.
I spend a momentum.
I thought you might.
Is the ship assisting?
The ship is assisting with engines con, yes. You don't... Look at that. You don't need no assistance from the ship. You got this. But we still should roll the ship because of complications.
Like that one?
Gotcha.
Alright, so you would go up to 4 momentum, but I will give you the option of spending 2 of that momentum, so you would go down to 2 to get rid of that complication.
Yes.
How about I say let's keep it, just to see what happens.
Oh no, I'm going to use my untapped potential to get that momentum right back.
Okay.
Alright. Let's go ahead and roll that challenge die. So you don't get it back, unfortunately.
Wait, that gets it back.
I thought it was an effect that you needed to roll.
I'll get whatever the number is.
Ah.
But if I get an effect, you also get a threat.
Okay, that's how it is. Yeah, honestly, this is my first time actually using untapped potential for anything, so keep me honest. All right. So, Morris, you decouple everything. The Avenger begins to exit space dock, and right at the last moment, right before you would start scratching the paint, you realize that the port thrusters are a little bit, shall we say, on the weaker side, and you compensate for such, and to everyone else, it just looks like you glide on out of space dock. You are the only one how close you came to scratching the captain's paint job.
I file a note immediately to get that looked into.
Alrighty. But yeah, you exit space dock into clear space, and it's up to you where you go from here.
Ensign, lay in the course given to us by the Admiral,
Aye, sir.
and execute at warp 3.
Aye, warp 3, sir.
All right. So you punch in the command. You hear the engine begin, the engine hum increase, and then nothing happens.
Moose immediately presses communication.
Go ahead.
Chief to engineering, what just happened?
This is Ensign or crew. I'm gonna get it messed up. This is Petty Officer Jensen, sir. Honestly, we're still trying to figure that out, sir. We should be going like a bat out of hell at the moment.
I'm canceling all engine commands now.
So you go to cancel the commands, but you notice that when you say, "Hey, power down the engines," the computer is not responding.
Chief, I thought this was all checked before we got underway.
I was assured it was checked by the dockmaster and his engineering crew.
I've been noticing very poor performance by the dockmaster.
So I have one question for you, Chief.
When can I
Why
get
are
it done?
you still on the bridge?
Oh, gotta wait for your orders. You ordered me up here.
Well, my engines aren't here.
Very well. Jensen,
Yes, sir.
did my computer get brought online yet?
It is online, sir, but it appears that we've hit a seg fault. And yes, sir, I'm aware of the irony of that, but that's what's happening, sir.
Give me a second. He's gonna tap a few buttons on the panel there. He's gonna press one and goes, "Betty, give me status report." That's what he calls his computer, by the way.
I was going to say I wasn't sure who Betty was. So I would like you to roll me either a insight or a reason plus engineering. And the difficulty here is going to be a 2.
And engineering, and it's with computers, right?
Yep.
So I have a focus and also a talent, computer expertise.
Very nice.
And I just gotta quickly check what computer expertise does.
Is it the reroll?
I think it's a reroll or it gives me an extra dice.
I think technical expertise is the reroll, and it's computer expertise that gives you an additional die.
Yeah, so computer expertise is what I have.
Okay, yeah.
I got an extra. It was in reason, you said?
Reason or insight plus engineering.
And I have a focus. So that gives me 3 dice then.
Mm-hmm.
And boop.
Very nice. So, you get 2 momentum. You're up to 5. And, yeah, Moose, you confirm the fact that the computer has indeed seg-faulted. You think, though, that if you do a cold reboot, this cold reboot would maybe last about 10, 20 minutes. But if you did a cold, reboot, you should not only fix the computer problem, but you may also fix the engine problem in the process.
It looks like when they brought Betty online, they didn't account for the extra power draw and the components she needs, so they hodgepodge her connections. Alright, well, I can do a reboot. We should be at backup within 20 minutes.
Very well, Chief. Let's get this taken care of.
Alright. And he'll head on down to engineering to one of the side compartments where his computer's housed at.
Okay. I was going to say, you could literally just push a few buttons on the bridge and handle it there, but if you want to go to engineering, you can go to engineering.
Yeah, he'll go to engineering.
Alrighty, noted. So, while Moose is working on that, I'm just curious, what are the rest of you on the bridge doing while you wait?
The captain is basically just looking over the consoles. The controls are on his chair. His non-familiarity or unfamiliarity with the layouts of Starfleet ships, since this is his first Starfleet ship.
Mm-hmm.
He's just trying to get used to their controls and interfacing. So he's just flipping through his chair controls and looking around.
All right. I
Does
would
the-
say that without any rolling, you very quickly find that you have a recline feature.
Nice! Oh, that's an amazing upgrade.
All right, so that's what the captain's up to. Morris, Rollins, what are you guys up to?
Is the computer working enough so that I can type some notes?
I would say that if not, you would have a pad handy that you could put it on.
Okay, I'm just typing up a detailed report of the thrusters issues I noted when we first launched, so that I can send it down to engineering at a less critical time.
Noted. Then Rollins, what are you up to?
Yeah, since we're waiting here, I'd love to run some personal diagnostics on some of the other tactical systems, since everything seems to be blown.
It's a good call. I would like you to roll me either a insight or a reason plus security, please. Your shipboard tactical systems will apply. The difficulty, for reasons that may become clear if you succeed, will be a 3. However, the ship will be assisting you with a sensors and security.
Can I buy a dice?
You've got 5 momentum. Go for it.
Yeah. Yes.
Ooh, okay. So
Oof.
let's break that down for anyone who is not actively looking at the screen. So that's 1 success, which is not enough to succeed. And you've also rolled a complication. Now, I know this is very early in the session, but would you like to spend determination to re-roll that, or do you want to stick with what you got?
Yeah. I'm just looking at values. Risk is our business.
Yeah, I'd say risk is anything involving weapons is risk, and going out there is without weapons is not a good idea.
With what was the difficulty again?
The
3 or 4?
difficulty is 3, so you would need to get 2 more successes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll re-roll if nothing else, just to get rid of the difficulty or the
The complication, I gotcha.
complication.
Yeah. All right, so you can re-roll as many of your own die as you'd like, but you cannot re-roll the ship.
Right. So I'll re-roll 2.
Okay. Look at that. You're fine. In fact, you actually get a momentum for your efforts. All right. So, it's a little bit iffy at first because the whole computer being rebooted, you're getting some faulty data, but after, the initial interference clears, you are able to tell something very important about your phase cannons. So, technically at this point, your phase weaponry should have been outfitted so that you could be, in a mechanics standpoint, firing to medium range. However, again, probably because of the Dockmaster and improper installation, your effective range is only close. You can still, of course, fire torpedoes at medium, but your phase cannons are definitely restricted to close.
So a little bit of mumbling, and turn to the captain and say, Captain, can I possibly see you? Is that like a little, like in the ready room?
I would say that you've got the meeting room there. Well, it's just basically a meeting table behind you, behind the glowing pillars. And if you wanted to meet the captain in private, you could go to his ready room, which he was in earlier.
Well, Captain, can I talk to you in the meeting room just for a moment?
Of course.
All right.
What seems to be the problem, Lieutenant?
Well, sir, it seems like everything I look at in our systems, from at least the tactical systems and what we've experienced so far with the shuttle bay, it seems like everything we have is not working at full capacity. I just discovered that our phase cannons. See, I'm doing it too now. Are not optimized. We should be able to do much further range than we're able to, so that puts it at a significant disadvantage if something comes up. We've had troubles with some of our torpedo bays, as well as, we're not quite sure whether our tractor beams are working correctly yet.
So, hold on. Let me get this right. We went to use a shill pod. The shuttle pod broke down.
Yes, sir.
We went to go to warp. The warp broke down. Now you're telling me you're supervising the phasers? The phase cannons? And now the phase cannons don't work right.
Correct. At least they do work, which is good. But they do seem to be far less satisfactory than I would normally want a spaceship operating at. So it is something to consider as we move forward. We're very handicapped.
Could you see if there's anything you can do to repair it locally? I'm going to definitely get a report from all the issues we have, and I'm sending that directly to the Starfleet. This is not right. Something is wrong.
Yeah, it almost, from a paranoia standpoint, seems like someone's trying to set us up to fail.
I agree. Something is not right here. Go ahead and see if there's anything you can do locally, and then report the outcome of that, right or wrong, or good or bad. And I'm going to gather a report from all the divisions.
Will do, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So, as you return to your stations, Moose, you've got the computer back up and running.
Excellent. I'm gonna have it do a quick little diagnostic, level 4,
Mm-hmm.
and just run a full test on it, just to make sure everything's fine. But I will let the bridge know that everything's back up and running.
Very well. I'm gonna go out on full comms across the ship and report all divisions to run diagnostics. Level 3 diagnostics on all systems and report any malfunctions before we enter warp again.
All right. So, we'll say that Ensign Chatol, she'll kind of serve as your yeoman for the moment. She says, reports coming in, sir. Oh, boy.
Yes, Ensign?
That's... well, sir, would you like the good news or the bad news?
Always give me the bad news first.
Well, sir, I have enough of a laundry list here of problems that if you wanted to fire the dockmaster, this is probably enough to do it. Frankly, sir, not even your sonic shower is working.
What a complete waste of a shower. I need mud. Okay, so what's the good news?
Well, the good news is we have fresh coffee. And she smiles at her poor attempt at a joke.
Boss is not entertained.
Yeah, she very quickly picks up on that and, says, sorry, sir.
Man, I really wish I had an XO right now to summarize these reports for me. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is send it to my... send it to my engineer for summarization, and then we'll get it out to Starfleet. But we have warp engines. Is that correct, Chief?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try this again. Ensign, lay in course, execute at warp 3.
Aye, sir.
All right. And thankfully, this time when you enter in the command, you do jump to warp.
I'm going to immediately make sure our navigational deflector's working.
It is, and you barely have to notice because if it wasn't working, you jumping to warp would have probably torn the ship apart.
Okay, this
Shotgun blast of space debris.
just double checking.
Mm-hmm.
So in the summary report, is there any small things that could be completed during this transit? Or also, how long is the transit?
So, the detail I forgot to tell you during the very quick briefing with the Admiral. You are headed to the Drylax system. Now, my research indicates that the Drylaxians are known for their liquor, but this weapons cache that you're headed to, it is a leftover vestige of the Earth-Romulan War, and they have quite a number of warheads there that are in storage. If you want to think of it, it is kind of a resupply depot that they just never got around to, and for some reason they're sending you to handle it.
Lovely.
The transit time is going to be at the speed of plot, but if you actually want a number, I have it calculated out. If you're at warp 3, it will take you about a week. If you go warp 5, it'll be a couple days.
Okay. Well, we probably don't want to push it until we... just yet.
Yeah, did they give us a deadline?
The Admiral did say as soon as possible, but he did not say a specific deadline.
Okay, so on this troubling summary, is there any small things that can be repaired during transit?
There are quite a number of them, yes. I could summarize them for you, but as Ensign Satol told you, it ranges from big problems, like, the whole computer and power draw thing, down to literally showers are not working.
Okay. So can we task these up and get some of these things checked off?
You certainly can.
Sweet. Let's do... Captain in Chief.
Who's here?
Have you looked over that list of problems aboard the ship?
Yeah, then I threw it across the room.
Well, unfortunately, we still have to be a working vessel as best as possible. If there's tasks that your teams can handle, let's go ahead and start getting those out. Hopefully, when we are done with this mission, we can get back and get the majors done by Starfleet, by the dry dock. But until then, we gotta put some effort forward.
Oh, I already have teams working on the minor stuff. I'll be working on the major stuff. I don't trust Dry Dock to make me a sandwich.
And because I find it funny, Moose, a panel above you and to the right falls out, falls next to you, and there's literally a half-eaten ham sandwich there.
The only thing Dry Dock did well was at least put my computer and make sure Veronica's running. That's the warp core.
Great. Do your best, Chief. And
Aye, sir.
then I'll go to the Lieutenant, Mr. Rollins.
Yes, sir.
The weapons cache that we are looking at decommissioning, is there any weapons aboard, or weapons in it that we could use aboard the ship?
I'm certain there are. We are fully stocked. That was one thing. Whether the quality of what we've been given is up to par, maybe that we might want to swap some things.
Well, could you take a look and see if there's anything that'll put us in a better situation?
Yes, sir. I'll take a look at the manifest. Did we get a manifest?
Strangely, you did not. The only information you got were the set of coordinates, the defense codes, and the location. So, you don't even know what's there.
Lovely.
Can we just go to red alert now, sir?
Yes, this concerns me. Okay. And let's go ahead and slowly put some more speed into our movement, Ensign Morris.
I mean, we might want to take the whole week to try to repair things, but if there's speed,
Well, we want to exercise our engines as well. I mean, if we're safe at this speed, let's go ahead and we can speed up and then slow down if we want to arrive a little late, a little longer. I just want to tax the engines to make sure they're not going to come apart when we need them. So I'll order the ensign to push it up to 3.5.
All right.
3.5, sir. Engaged.
Sure enough, no problems. You make it to 3.3, and everything seems to be fine. But during transit time, we have very important things to decide. So, and this is open question for everyone, so you all can weigh in on this. There are 3 areas of which that Moose, Rollins, or Morris collectively can work on. The first one is navigation. As Morris has noted, the thrusters aren't exactly working as they should. So you could focus on seeing if you can fix that and any other sort of navigational problems. Option 2 is you focus on the tactical side of things. You basically fix the torpedo tube. You maybe see if you can fix the problem with the phase cannons, things of that nature. Option 3 is you try and do some, shall we say, experimental repairs. And by that I mean, as you have found out, a lot of the experimental cross-species technology is not working as it should. So by focusing on this, you could conceivably fix your tractor beams. You could also conceivably fix any problems with the shield array.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I was going to say, okay. So obviously this is taking days in transit. So I'd say one of the earlier days in transit, we would have a meeting with all of us together to make a decision.
Sure. Would you like to have it in that little meeting room at the end of the bridge, or would you like to have it in what is basically the captain's mess?
Let's do the captain's mess.
Sure.
And I will invite Ensign Morris to join us. Because there you go, yeah.
And yeah, again, I can't get rid of T'Pol, but this is more or less what your mess looks like.
Who would want to?
Oh, the doctor is here. He has introduced himself, but I'm deliberately being vague because the player is not here. But if we definitely need a medical weigh-in, I will play Master Chief for Liza. So they're here. They just aren't contributing much.
Wait. I got a Master Chief in my mess area?
You do.
Okay.
He's very honored to be here.
Oh, good. He better be enlisted. I mean...
I think he outranks it because he's our CMO.
So it's one of those interesting things where, as CMO, even though he's enlisted, he can tell the captain to shove it. But it's kind of also a respect thing where, for those who aren't familiar with real world Navy, if a Master Chief tells you to do something and you're not a lieutenant or plus, you do whatever the hell the Master Chief tells you, because the Master Chief will make your life hell.
So, we'll be sitting there eating our respective foods, which seems to be... You guys will be eating nice, good old-fashioned human food, while, to be honest with you, I'm not even sure what Delaware eats.
It's probably something like Klingons, where it's like prune juice and something else that humans find unpleasant.
So while we're sitting there consuming our, let's say, early lunch, because it's a work day, because every day's a work day underway, we will have a conversation about what their recommendations are, and I will go starting from the highest ranking down.
All right. Well, I believe highest ranking is technically Rollins.
What is your recommendation, Lieutenant?
Well, at least the tactical systems do work. Any improvements would just be in efficiency. So if we are going to focus on something, it would be good to make sure that our shields work as well as, the tractor beam.
Very well, Chief.
Well, we have Andorian shields, we got the Nobulan tractor, we got Rigelian sensors. We have a whole mess of different technology all trying to work together, requiring all different power sets. The standard computer core is having issues relegating this. The core I have on board that's still experimental, it could potentially do it. The downside is you'd be trusting a new piece of technology that still has some errors in it. That would be relegating all of these systems. So I'm hesitant on even attempting to link it until more flaws are worked out. The other thing we're encountering too is the core seems to be having surges, especially when we're testing the shielding system. The sudden increase in power requirements is causing the core to wind down the warp field, which then slows us down. Right now, there's a lot to repair, a lot to do, and a lot to change. That's what the design of the ship was, to figure it all out, make it work, or reverse engineer our own technology from this. So, I'm fine with repairing whatever you want to repair.
Is there a capability of putting more charge systems in the warp coils to stabilize the field?
Well, we could do that, but then it's drawing more power from the warp core, which then starts to draw more power from the shields. The catch-22. Go back and forth.
Ensign?
Well, I don't have a specific recommendation for you, Captain, but it would be my experience that we either fix one thing completely rather than fix everything partially. When we know what works and what doesn't, we can compensate. But when everything's only semi-functional, it's harder to do that.
Just a point of conversation, Mr. Morris. In your experience?
I was bringing in my pre-Starfleet experience as well, sir.
Understood, sir. Understood. We will work on the defensive systems. If we can shoot, we just have to get a little closer. But those shields are definitely something we're going to need if these deactivation and codes for the defensive systems are either not exactly working the way we expect, or straight up been changed since the last time they updated it. So let's get them shields and integration systems online, Chief.
Very well.
And then we'll go to continue eating until and if there's any table conversation unrelated to ship's operations, the captain doesn't really partake.
Noted. All right. So let's have Moose. Let's have you do a extended task for this, and I would say up to one other person on the crew may assist you. So it doesn't have to be someone here; it can be a supporting character. You're just limited to one assistance. Would you like to focus on shields or tractors first?
Well, we're looking at defense, so shields, and I'll have my what it's commonly known as the engineer's mate. Assistant engineer assist me with this.
Okay.
Aw, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
All right, so you're going to be rolling me to start off a insight and reason to diagnose any problems that might exist. The difficulty here will be a 2.
Does it have to be insight?
I would say reason could also apply here.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, generous GM. You are too kind. Insight's my dump stat.
Tell me about it.
We need to play poker.
And am I using the computers to check all the diagnostic issues?
I would say this is you in your professional opinion, and as well as the opinion of your assistant, if you're seeing any problems. So I'm going to say the ship does not assist you here.
Okay. And I don't have a focus for this. Not for shields.
Anderson does.
And this is the start of the extended task, or just to like kind of narrow things down?
Narrow things down before the extended task.
Okay.
All right, 2 successes. That's all you need. Let's see if you get that assist and if there's any complications
So how does the character assist?
So if you're assisting, you would roll like normal. You would just do 1 die instead of 2. Okay,
Gotcha,
so
sir.
no help from Anderson. So what the two of you realize is that actually the shields are doing what they're supposed to do. You just have to be very creative about power management. And there's a few ways you can go about that. You could tax the computer core a little bit more. You could literally sort of jury rig extra EPS conduits. There's a lot of things you can do, but this is where we'll move into the extended task. So because you succeeded on this reason engineering, the difficulty of the extended task will go down. The extended task will have a work track of a 8, so very easy. The magnitude will be a 2, and the default task will be either control or daring engineering. And yeah, again, you may have up to 1 assistance on your rolls.
Keep Anderson.
Yay!
So my question is, are you being daring or are you doing things by the book?
I'll do things by the book, considering that I'm going to be writing this book.
Alrighty.
And I have an idea of how to fix the issue with the power draw.
Go for it.
Alright.
Oh, also, I don't know if anyone's noticed this yet, but if you ever get stuck on Technobabble, we have a Technobabble macro. You just push it, gives you everything you could need.
I've been wanting to push it, but restraining myself.
Push it. I know you want to, man. Just push it. There you go.
Yes, that's the fix. We have to recalibrate the linear positronic pulse regulator.
EPS as a focus?
Uh-huh.
Alright. Ooh. Are we okay using 2 momentum to get rid of that? Complication I rolled.
Sure. We have 5, right?
Yeah, you've got 5 at the moment.
Oh, what are we fixing again?
The shields.
Oh, okay.
So your focus would still apply. I'll put us in engineering so that we can focus a little bit. So yeah, you could literally use the 2 you just got to cancel out that thing, and you would stay at 5.
Cool. And also, I have something to do. Yeah, so I got to roll challenge dice for this now.
Okay.
It's an extended task, right?
It is.
How many dice am I rolling?
You are rolling a total of 7 challenge die.
Holy crap, your engineering's 5?
So,
Yeah. Moose, apparently you're going to be the miracle worker because not only are you able to do the work, you complete it in half the time.
Yeah, I also have the talent, miracle worker.
Then you literally leave the lunch meeting, you work on it for about 2 hours, and yeah, you've got shielding, and it's purring like a kitten.
So you see, Anderson, what I did here was we set up 2 dual batteries that tied into the warp core that they're shunted in through a reactor. Basically, we power the shields. The batteries then provide the additional burst. If the shields take a hit, they draw from the batteries first. The reactor recharges the batteries. This is canceling out some of the issues that we're having with the shields.
Yes, sir. It looked like you reversed the polarity, but I fixed that for you.
Oh, thank you. This is why you're my assistant.
I suppose.
All right. So, that's 1 extended task done early, so you actually have extra time to work on the tractor beam if you so wish.
Sure.
All right. So, same thing. Either a reason or an insight engineering to diagnose the problems with the tractor emitters. And again, you may have Anderson assist you.
Definitely have Anderson. EPS still as a focus?
I would say not for this.
Okay. And this is kind of we're not doing emergency repairs though, right?
I would not qualify this as an emergency quite yet.
I would say I think Timothy Rollins would want to assist you.
Oh yeah, if you want to have Rollins assist you, go for it.
Sure.
Alright, so I do see one success. You need one more.
So it's control engineering.
It's either a reason or insight. For Rollins,
right.
I'm going to make it a security instead of engineering.
And tactical systems.
Yeah, I'd say a tractor beam is tactical system, so yeah. Hey, that's the one success you need. So what the two of you realize together as you stare at diagnostics of the tractor beam, the reason it's not working as it should is, as seems to be the trend, the focusing crystal that the emitters use is cracked, or is in the process of cracking.
Well, that's a shame. We could take it down to the fabrication labs and get a new one made.
You can, however, the difficulty of replacing the emitter crystal is you quite literally have to spacewalk out onto the hull to get to the crystal. Now, you could, I'll say for sake of argument, you could transport the crystal, and see that it is cracked, but to actually replace it, you need such fine-tuned movement and control that you would have to spacewalk out there to do it. But the good news is that literally an ensign could do it. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Chief Moose to Ensign Morris.
Morris here.
How good's your EVA training?
I excelled, sir.
Excellent. You've been voluntold to go to the tractor beam. I'll give you details. Get suited up.
Understood. I'm on my way now. Morris literally jogs or runs to the place where he's told.
Okay.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's an EVA here?
Yeah.
And the captain wasn't told?
Not yet.
I need to make captain's battle orders.
I mean, we're going to have to drop out of warp to do an EVA, right?
Well, so that's the thing. You don't have to drop out of warp because the way warp works is there's a bubble around the ship. So
Yeah, but if something goes wrong...
Well, if something goes wrong, you maybe, have bigger problems on your hand. But as long as the bubble stays stable and you magnetize your boots to the hull, it's not like you're going to go anywhere.
I'll call up to the bridge. Moose to the captain.
Go ahead, Chief.
We need to do an EVA excursion to fix the tractor beam. We gotta replace a crystal in it. We can do it one of two ways. Still in warp, or we drop out.
We're going to go ahead and drop out of warp. As many things have had issues right now, let's not test Lady Luck.
Very well. And, I guess he can tell to drop out of warp in engineering, can he? Because,
I
the warp
mean,
code's right there.
it would get filtered down, and yeah, the ship would come to a stop.
Alright. And he'll, look at Rollins like, you coming along with us? Or should you just make the ensign do it by himself?
No, I'll go along.
Alright.
Or, I mean, yeah, if you need someone to do transporter or something like that, I can do that as well.
Yeah, how about we get you on transport as a hot standby? If something goes wrong, beam us back.
Alright.
And would I have specifications on the tractor crystal?
You would.
Alright, so while that's all happening, I guess I'd go pick up a tractor crystal from
Okay.
fabrication.
So,
And then
you show up at the decontamination room because that's where you got to go through to get out onto the hull, and waiting for you is Ensign Morris.
gonna look at him like, Morris, why haven't you undressed for decon yet? Don't you know protocol?
Excuse me, sir?
I'm just messing with you. Let's go.
All right.
All right. So, you guys get suited up and you make your excursion out onto the hull. Now, this is going to be a slightly unorthodox series of events because the extended task will switch what you're doing task-wise mid-extended task. So this is going to be a work track of 12, a difficulty of 3, and a resistance of 1, a magnitude of 3 as well. And the default task to start off with is going to be a fitness and a con.
I think I could lead this one here. That's a 13 for my end.
Okay.
Fitness and con. Yeah, I'll let him lead.
All right, go for it.
All right. I don't think I have an applicable focus here, unless you want to include improvisation, but I wouldn't.
I mean, unless you're literally hop, skipping, and jumping along the hull, I'd probably say no.
He
Okay.
is helping me along because Moose does not like EVA.
Oh God, this is so. Lieutenant Moose, Chief Moose. One thing that helped me a lot with EVA is it's actually a lot like ballet. It's all about controlled movement. Equal distance over equal time is really important for all the movements involved.
Moose is just gonna look at you. It's like, I'm just gonna keep my eyes on the hull and your feet.
That also works, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy 1 extra die, so
Okay.
we're at 3 for my.
Okay, yeah, you would be at 3 because we did have a scene change, so you would be down to 3.
Oh,
Okay, that is a complication, but you do need 1 more success to succeed at this.
Am I
So
assisting?
Moose, you are technically assisting, so I need a fitness con from you as well, buddy.
Oh man, my con's a 1. He has had training though. Could his Mako training come into play?
I would say,
That's
yeah,
one.
something about your Mako training would have trained you for this sort of eventuality.
Alright.
And, okay, well, remember, you're only assisting with 1 die, but either way, you get the 3rd success you need. The next thing I have to ask is, do you want to take the complication, or do you want to spend your 2 remaining momentum to get rid of it?
I
So
think
let's take it.
Yeah, let's take
we're,
it.
Okay.
we're out there. We're exploring cowboys. Hiya!
So, instead of the complication, I'm just going to take threat. So, yeah, Morris and Moose, guys, traverse along the underside of the hull to where the tractor emitter is. It is basically where the grappler cables used to be, but now there's just sort of a dish on the underside of the saucer where you have to put in a new crystal. So, Morris, if you could roll me 6 challenge die, please. All right, so you do get a breakthrough, and you're at 7 out of 12 work done, and that means that your next task is very easy. So, you guys get to the emitter, you pop open the hatch, and at this point, you just got to put the crystal in, align it properly, and you're good to go. So this is where the extended task changes from fitness and con to either a control or a you know what, let's do a fitness engineering, because I don't think we do that enough. Let's do a fitness engineering. The difficulty is a 2, and you can't assist each other on this, but I do need to know which of you is taking the lead.
I have a fitness of 11.
You should take the
Engineering
leader.
5.
Yeah.
And doop. And no focuses for this. I'm gonna buy an extra dice if everyone's okay with that.
Oh wait, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do that, I needed to roll my challenge die for untapped potential.
A threat.
It's also momentum.
Yes, does
Yay,
that momentum.
Thanks,
Very-
GM.
Someone promote that guy already.
Three
That's
dice.
given us 4 extra momentum this game so far.
It has.
Point of question:
Mm-hmm.
Does this ship have any kind of old school NX version of like worker bees or exterior drones?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Your only support craft are your 2 shuttle pods.
Well, I'm just saying, is there anything like I can have a camera that's like floating outside watching their work?
Oh, of course, because Star Trek cameras are magic, and they're exactly where you need them to be.
Oh, perfect! I am totally watching this.
Well, same with the tractor beam ready in case.
Okay. So, Moose...
Not the tractor beam, but the...
Yeah, I gotcha.
Transport doesn't say.
Yeah. So, Moose, you do succeed. So, I need you to roll me 7 challenge die. We only need to see 5 successes here, and you complete your... All right, yeah. You got no problem. You've worked out your nervousness with doing EVA, and yeah, it's very standard procedure. You pop out the old... Or you already popped out the old crystal. You clear the crystal coupling. You stick in the new crystal. You basically click it in. You do some very basic alignment, and after a moment, you're pretty damn sure that your tractor beam should be working.
During the whole time, because I'm guessing comms are kept open because of EVA regulations. While Moose is working, all he's saying is brace the shoulder, squeeze the trigger, and he's like chanting a whole thing in his head, like he's just very muttering it over and over. You can hear him saying, "Drop the magazine, reload, aim, brace the shoulder," and he's just saying it as he's putting it all in. It's not like space.
All right.
You know,
So, I'm going to say that getting back inside is pretty easy.
Hold on.
Oh, what you got?
So once I see them closing up the panel, I, whoever the sitting con officer is, whatever ensign or senior chief or whatever sitting there, I tell him as they're patching it up that I want the ship to rotate at a degree every 10 seconds on its center axis.
So, doing an Aerolon roll.
Yes.
Okay. So, for those on the ship, nothing really changes, but for Moose and Morris, you do notice that the ship has begun to spin.
I don't know. So I'm looking at the bottom of Morris's boots in the hull.
That inner ear is really jacking you up.
Morris to bridge.
Go ahead, ensign.
Is everything all right in there?
Oh yes, everything's great. Is everything okay out there?
Everything's fine.
Okay, very well.
Just noticed some unexpected movement, but as long as that's on purpose, everything's fine.
Chief must have jumped up and down on one side of the saucer and caused us to move.
You wait. It's out of character. We literally just had Moose get out and push it.
And you're not wrong. Oh dear.
Okay,
Right.
little new crew hazing.
Yeah, you know, little to be expected. All right, so we'll say that pretty much takes up your transit time, unless you want to sort of delay any further.
No, if we're doing good speed, or if we're able to move it at good speed without any major issues, I'm good.
All right, so we are going to cut to the bridge a few days later, and we will take our break in a moment. But we'll say that you arrive at the Drylax system, or well, nearby it anyway. And you are approaching the weapons depot.
Okay. I guess it's the it's our Andorian ensign that handles comms, right?
That handles comms. Well, that or Morris. One of the two would handle it.
Actually, Staros, because he's the communications.
Ah, All right. Well, let me set up his token.
We have a specific communications officer. Okay.
Let me
He's
set
a
up his
Vulcan.
token. All right. Is he an ensign?
No, he's a specialist.
Okay. So is he petty officer, chief petty officer?
No, didn't give me that option for that there. Just like specialist rank, specialist first class to third class.
Oh, that's a petty officer then.
Yeah. So he's just petty officer. All right.
And what's his name?
Staros.
Staros. Okay.
It'll be on the screen in a moment. I just have to tick a few boxes.
There we go.
All right. Should see it now.
Okay.
And I'll move it for stream in a second. There we go.
Okay. Petty Officer Staros. Send the deactivation codes to the depot to break down its defensive weapons.
Acknowledged, sir. You'll type them in and send a message.
There is no
Okay.
reply.
And then I'll have who's running? Mr. Morris. Scan the depot to see if their sensors and detection systems are offline.
Aye, sir.
Captain,
Yes, petty officer.
I have not received a reply from the depot.
Understood. Let's go ahead and scan to see if there's any action by the depot.
So is this what's my attribute I'm using? I'm assuming science.
Yep, it's going to be, well, I'd say it could either be a reason science or a reason security. The ship will be assisting you with a sensors security, and the difficulty here is a 0, so this is your chance to get some momentum.
All right. I'll go reason security or reason science.
Okay?
Okay, and what's the ship again? Sensors security, right? Okay.
And sensors operations as a focus.
Most definitely. To momentum, very good.
And I think, do I get a bonus momentum when using sensors or the navigation dish? That's what we talked about.
I believe so, yes. But remember,
only for
the bonus momentum is only for additional questions, and it does not get saved to the pool.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm going to put us on this map, and I will describe what you're seeing before we take our break. So, what you see is that the depot is comprised of quite a number of warheads floating stationary in space. There are approximately 3 defensive platforms that appear to be deactivated at the moment. And the reason for that is because you're also detecting what appear to be 2 Orion interceptors that are currently trying to unload as many warheads as possible.
Oh, okay.
Hooray!
Okay.
Yeah, and that is where we are going to take our break. So I'm going to do something a little bit new, and I'll be doing this when I go forward with Amalthea next week. I've found a somewhat soothing track to do during BRB, so I will mute both myself and the players during the break, and hopefully the looping music does not get too annoying. But let's be back here at no later than 10 minutes from now. All right, BRB. right, and we're back a little bit early from our break. Apologies if it was a little loud to start off with. I'm still messing with audio levels, but I think it's working now. In any event, to remind you what happened before the break, the Avenger arrived on scene. The defensive platforms that were guarding the depot of Warheads were deactivated, and there were 2 Orion interceptors that were trying to basically steal as much as they could. So, this is the situation you find yourselves in. How do you guys respond?
Well, these. So, question for clarification: Would I know who owns these? Are these old, pre-Federation tech type stuff?
Yeah, they are older Orion design.
Oh, they are Orion designed.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, we have the access codes to it. So with that, I would say, Petty Officer, do we have the ability, or do we have the tech? Do we have the codes to activate the platforms?
One moment, and he'll check.
You do.
He'll punch in the code, but not send them, and he'll just look to the captain like, we can send them.
Okay. One thing, do we have basically the system that identifies us as a friend if we activate these things?
So that you don't know.
Tactical alert, sir.
Hold on. We don't want to tip our hand just yet. Yeah, let's go. You know what? Let's try this. Let's go ahead and go to tactical alert.
Okay.
Do that.
So the pillars behind you on the bridge turn to a red, and alarm begins sounding across the ship to sound to general quarters and basic combat readiness. And part of your tactical alert is shields do go up. Now, for housekeeping purposes, remember that even though you guys do have shields, it's mostly fluff. We are still using the polarized hull rules, which means you do breach on 4 or more damage in a single attack.
Let's go ahead and send that activation code.
Alright, and Dross will send out the activation code.
All right. So, I'm going to say that because you have a electronic warfare system on the ship, this is going to be almost a signals jamming task, which means if you succeed, you get a bonus 2 momentum that you can spend 2 more momentum to basically select an additional target. So I need to know which of the defensive platforms you're targeting, and then we'll do the roll.
Let's go ahead and do the one at, what is that?
Now here, let me add some letters to this so it's a little bit easier. So there's B. We'll say this one's A, and the other one will be C.
Okay.
Yeah. So which one do you want to go for?
I want to go for the C.
For C. Okay, the bottom one.
Yep.
All right. So this is going to be a signals jamming check. So this is a control and engineering, and the ship is assisting with communications and security. Now, this is a unique task in that you may select your difficulty. And I will say that the higher difficulty you go, the more chances of actually succeeding and activating the platform it is. You can go up to a difficulty of 3.
Okay, so let me look at one thing on my... So, direct, I can use once per
Scene, which this scene will be all of Starship Combat.
Okay. I think we'll get it. I think this will be a tactical advantage. I go ahead and direct... what's the rolls?
Control engineering.
That's a shame. I would engineered 1.
I'm sorry, say again?
Sturos has an engineered 1. He's a 3 in security.
Yeah, now. What's the... I don't have access to all your sheets. What's Morris's look like?
I've got a 2 on engineering.
Okay, and then lieutenants.
3.
Okay, and what's your control?
11.
Okay. So, because this is a tactical platform, I will direct my tactical officer to send a level 3,
Okay.
3 success transmission, and with my direct, I get to assist him.
Indeed.
Um,
So the captain's going to roll a presence command.
Presence.
Rollins, you're going to be doing a control engineering for Rollins, and then if someone could get the ship is doing communications and security.
I can roll for ship.
Okay.
I'm doing 2 dice to.
Correct. You are doing 2 dice, unless you would like to spend momentum for more.
I would say let's spend at least 1 momentum, because if we can get these things to activate, we might not have to deal with one of the Orions.
Okay. And I have Starfleet protocol and shipboard tactical systems.
I would say
Do
that
either
applies.
of those. Okay.
Oh,
Very nice. Very nice. All right, I think we're just missing... okay, so... Rollins, you get that momentum back. And yes, in fact, when you send out your signal, thanks to the EWAR systems on the Avenger, you're able to cut through the jamming signal coming from the interceptor, and defensive platform C begins to power up. Now, remember, as I said earlier, you can spend 2 momentum to select an additional target.
I'd say let's get platform A up as well. Harass one of each. Or B.
B would probably be good.
A would probably be the better choice, because we're in the middle, so if we don't have IFF, we have more chance to stand against A and B's or A and C's distance. So yeah, let's go with A
All right,
and
so
spend the momentum.
platform A is going to activate. Alrighty. So as at this point, I will put us into initiative order, and we'll see what happens. All right.
You know, I probably should have opened comms first.
I mean, you can hear as I get everyone into initiative.
Well, I think it's a little late. Just maybe it's a little late.
I
Hey,
mean,
you guys friendly?
Hold on. So by activating them, does that mean we get to command them, or are they just going to go into automated?
they're going to go fully automated.
Yeah, it might be a little late. They're going to freaking... Hi, guys, can we be friends? Boom, 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 boom.
Pretty much. Alright, so they get 3 turns.
That wasn't very Starfleet. I got to write that down. Be more Starfleet.
Alright.
I liked it, sir.
3, 4, 5.
Keeps it entertaining.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and...
I mean, Starfleet isn't quite Starfleet yet either.
This is true. You're still
Well-
figuring out what works.
Well, I mean, they are... We came here to shut these things down, and obviously they're not here to do the same thing, or we wouldn't be here.
And we don't want them to walk away with nuclear warhead.
Alright. So, I'm going to say that it is going to be your guys' turn first. So, remember, we do have dots that indicate what you can use. So, what would you guys like to do?
We don't have anything long range, right? Or what range?
I believe all of your
what's your range?
torpedoes are medium range, and your phase cannons are short range or
Short
close range.
Okay, so we need to move. So Helm probably needs to move us in a little closer. We'll get
Well-
to...
I mean, we can medium range A, right?
Yeah, I believe, Interceptor A is within 6.
Oh,
And the platforms will shoot at us.
well, we don't... I'm
You
not
don't
sure
know?
if we know that.
Well, they gave us the codes to disable them.
That's true. We could shut them down if they do start shooting at us. Good point. I'm almost tempted to let... Okay. Let's do... what the hell. Let's commit. Let's take some torpedo shots at the A.
Okay, so just so you know, in order to fire torpedoes, even your warheads, it is a threat spend. So I do get at least one threat if you fire torpedoes. Now, you can fire a salvo, which would be 3 threat, but the advantage is you get additional damage.
If they're
What's the splash damage do we have to worry about?
Well, as far as I know, none of your torpedoes have area of effect. So your nuclear warheads are probably your best bet. They do have Vicious 1, but remember, they're kind of your weapon of last resort, so you might want to try just spatials, but that's just me.
I see a bunch of replacements just sitting around.
This is true.
Yeah, what the hey? Make it interesting. Let's take a shot.
Okay. Single shot or salvo?
Let's do a single shot for now.
Okay. So that is going to be a control security from Rollins, and the ship is assisting with weapons security. The difficulty is a 3.
Do we want to spend a momentum just to maybe get more momentum?
The other 2 are being silent. Any input?
Up to you, Captain.
Oh, okay. No, let's hold off on that. Let's, just in case we need it to do something else, like get away.
What?
Yeah. I don't want my first day. I said I don't want to make enemies my first day, and we are opening fire on Orions, so.
Orions are bad people.
Okay, so there's 2 successes from Rollins. I need to see a success from the ship for your torpedo to hit.
And if this misses, then we were obviously doing a warning shot, right?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everything's on purpose, all the time.
Who's rolling for the ship?
I think you just volunteered.
I guess I just did. So that is sensors security, right?
Weapons security.
Weapons. What was I thinking? What about me?
Yeah, so I guess you do fire off that warning shot because your torpedo misses completely.
Lieutenant, the tracking system is not great on these torpedoes. Just make note of that, please.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, up next is going to be Orion Interceptor A, and it sees you firing at it and decides it's going to fire back. However, it's only equipped with a particle beam. It is optimally at medium range, so let's see what happens for the Orion Interceptor. With 4 successes, it will hit you. It is going to spend its versatile 2 on 2 piercing, so that's a total of 4 resistance off the top. But you guys are only going to be taking 3 shield damage. Or, let's be a little bit evil. I'm going to spend at least 1 threat to make that 4 damage so that you guys take a breach.
We just got out of Space Dog.
You did just get out of Space Dog. Alright, let's see what happens. As fate would have it, your computers have been... a breach has occurred to your computers. Now, very quickly, let me look up computers. I don't think it does anything too crucial. But let's see. Until you perform the restore minor action. All tests that involve the ship's crew. So it's all tasks assisted by the ship. The complication range increases by 2 until someone performs the restore minor action.
Joke's on them, our computers don't even work.
Alright, so you guys did note your 4 shield damage, yes? I'm hoping so anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so Also make sure that you do tick off the breach box for the computers on the ship. But while you're doing that, there is some good news. Defensive Platform C, the one to the south, is going to open fire on the Orion Interceptor. And I'm just going to say, because it is literally designed for this and nothing else, I'm just going to roll challenge die. So the good news is it does auto-hit. The bad news is it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Well, I say that. So the platform is able to hit the interceptor. It does take out a significant chunk of its starboard shield array. However, the interceptor does have shields, a little more than half. And it comes back around to you guys.
Permission to take evasive maneuvers.
Right. Agreed, Ensign. Execute.
All right. I want to look up a couple difficulties here, though. It's difficulty 3 to do scan for weakness, and difficulty 2 to do maneuver.
So scan for weakness, the reason why it's difficulty 3 is because you are at medium range. Actually, I think it's only 2. Yeah, so because it's medium range, the difficulty is 2. And that is a control science, not assisted by the ship's sensors security. Whereas evasive action is a daring and con, difficulty 1, assisted by the ship's structure and con.
Okay, so that's the easier of the two?
It is, but evasive action does cost a point of power.
Okay, so I would like to do that first. I'll do my minor action to restore computers.
Okay.
And then I'll do evasive action, which you said was difficulty 1?
Difficulty 1, correct.
All right. I will... I'm not going to spend anything on momentum here. It's daring con.
It is daring con, and the ship is assisting with structure con.
Structure con. Okay.
All right, 1 success.
All right. See if the ship gets you anything. Ship does. You get a momentum. Very nice.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
So I'm not done. I have just an extra 2 resistance while we're doing evasive maneuvers.
Okay.
And I'm going to spend 2 momentum to take a second action, which is not become more difficult. And then I'm going to scan for weakness on the. Well, I guess that's I wasn't asked to do that, but this is a fight or flight reaction. So yeah, I'll go ahead and try and scan the Orion Interceptor A for weakness.
Okay, so that is going to be a sensors and security from the ship, and Morris is rolling a control and science. The difficulty is a 2.
Is the ship assisting?
Yes, the ship is assisting with sensors and security.
Sensor.
With a breach computer?
It has been restored, so the breach is still there, but it is not affecting your complication range anymore. Alright, so that's a grand total of 2 momentum you guys get. And yeah, you scan for weakness. You identify the fact that if you keep hammering their starboard side, you might crack through their shields rather easily.
Right. And that's to maybe make up for the fact that it's harder to shoot while we're doing evasive actions.
Alrighty. So, up next is going to be Orion Interceptor B. And Orion Interceptor B is actually going to detect that Defensive Platform A is up and running, and it will attempt to blow up Defensive Platform A. And with Versatile 2, that is enough that the Defensive Platform A is destroyed. But, you know, good news, they didn't shoot you, but it does take out a defensive platform. And yeah, we roll back around because there's nobody left in the initiative order. You guys. Now, the one thing I will say is the benefit of your ship is you guys do have a special talent that you can basically do other actions. Say you could do another tactical action without taking a penalty.
So we could get closer, and then
Shoot again.
when we're up again, yeah, we could shoot. And I do have quick to action. Let's get me close. We can phase cannon.
Okay. Who's close?
All right, so where would you like to move?
Well, do we want to move?
Let me see.
Otherwise, it's torpedoes. I mean...
Yeah, I know, and we're giving them more threat, and I don't think our torpedo damage is high, anywhere near as... Yeah. We have to get in close. Okay. Khan, move us into close range. Q... Was that Q or O? 07.
Who's been hurt? Oh, okay, yeah.
So I will say if you have Morris do the con check, it will be a difficulty 1, but if someone else does the con check on the bridge, it's a difficulty 0. Because Morris has already acted.
Right.
Our communications officer? What? No, I'm just...
You know what? I know what. He is literally like 6 feet from me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to step up and go ahead and do the input.
Okay. So this is purely a momentum roll then. You're rolling a control and con, and the ship is assisting you with engines and con.
And... so we're under pressure, right?
Sorta.
Composure?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Alright, so 1 momentum from Voss, if someone could get the ship.
I can get the ship.
Alright. Alright, so just the 1 momentum. And yeah, you may move yourself to where you'd like to go.
We were off by 1.
Okay. So, with you guys moving up to there, that is going to be the captain's action. But remember, you can spend 2 momentum to retain the initiative.
I think someone said they had quick to action.
You can only use quick to action once a combat.
Right. And I haven't done that yet. I mean...
Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
Alright, well, if you would like to fire again, Rollins, this is going to be another control security, and the ship is still assisting you with weapons security. Because you have already fired once, it's a difficulty 3.
Can I? I'd like to spend a momentum for another die.
Sure. Yeah. Three successes is all you need. Let's see if the ship assists you or complicates things. All right, so you are indeed going to hit. So I believe your phase cannons do a total of 7 challenge die worth of damage. And you do have 1 bonus momentum that you could spend on something like piercing. You could spend it to reroll any zeros in your damage, things of that nature.
Do we roll first, or...?
You can roll first, yeah.
That was almost 70.
All right, so I will say that your best options would be to spend the 1 momentum for 2 piercing, so 2 resistance off, or you could spend it to reroll those 3 zeros.
No, I think piercing is probably going to be the best bet.
Okay. Then
Yeah, that's
I will
guaranteed 2
say
points.
that your shot will almost take out their shields. Like, it's just a little bit more of a kick, and you'll take out their shields. So you could spend momentum to maybe add 1 damage per momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's.
The cannons have a versatile 1, and he used the momentum from that to get piercing.
Mm-hmm.
Can he use another momentum to re-roll the 3 zeros as well?
He could, yes.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, so with 2 more damage, you are going to. Well, let me ask this, because it's a very important distinction. Are you disabling or destroying?
Disabling.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they have nuclear warheads. I guess nuclear warheads in space aren't that bad.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to say, oh, you know what? We didn't even factor in scan for weakness.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, gotta keep me honest, guys. So
yeah, that's
for
an extra
scan for weakness, roll me a additional challenge die, because this could be an issue. Okay, so let's just say that between your scan for weakness and your masterful shooting, that you completely disable this interceptor. It is, for all intents and purposes, dead in the water.
Nice.
All right. So, remaining is the Interceptor B. Interceptor B is going to see the writing on the wall, as it were, and it is going to begin to warp away. However, I'm going to spend my remaining threat and say that it launches one of the warheads towards the group that is nearest to you. But it will leave the field and will not be affected by any resulting cascading explosions. So let's see what happens. Let's see if they hit. They do not. So with that complication, what happens is the warhead flies out of their bay, gets maybe 100 meters off the hull and explodes, and at the same time they jump to warp, and your sensors do indicate that they do go to warp, but they are heavily damaged. But yeah, we are out of combat.
Good.
Oh, we had piercing 2 on that last attack, by the way.
Oh yeah, I factored that in.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, go ahead, Specialist, go ahead and send a message to shut down the platforms.
Very well, sir. And he will send a message.
Yeah, they shut down just fine.
Nice.
While he's doing it, can he also download a manifest from the platforms for how many warheads
You can
should be
indeed.
here?
We'll say that there are 10 on the map at the moment. There should be about 24.
Okay.
So there's a missing 14 warheads.
Can we scan for radiation detection or any kind of nuclear type devices inside Interceptor A?
Morris can certainly do so.
Mr. Morris.
Scanning now.
All right.
Reasons.
So reason science, assisted by the ship's sensors science.
Sensors science.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty here is going to be a 2.
I'm gonna buy a die for
Okay.
reasons.
All right, 2 successes, 3 successes, so you get that momentum right back. And yeah,
And I'm gonna re-roll a die with technical expertise.
go for it.
Look at him.
Very nice. So
Cool.
that's 4 momentum overall, I believe. And yeah,
Yeah.
Hell of a rookie I got here.
yeah, indeed. So, you are able to detect that out of the 14 missing warheads, only 4 are on this vessel.
And one was just fired.
And 1 was just fired.
So, is that 9 are missing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's try to open see if they have comms capability.
All right. So you open a hail, and yeah, sure enough, appearing on screen is a Orion captain. She is female. She does not look pleased, and you see that her bridge is in disarray behind her. And it looks like that she may or may not have taken some form of console breach to her face, because it's blackened, and otherwise there's a small trickle of blood down the side of her face. And she says, "When did Starfleet decide to shoot first before asking?"
This is Captain Voss of the Avenger. My question to you is, why were you taking these weapons?
We were simply taking salvage. It's not my fault that the Federation doesn't know how to properly defend its depots.
Those were hacked hacked devices or hacked defensive platforms, so you aggressively tried to take them.
Yes, yes, yes. I did so much wrong, yada, yada, yada. What's going to happen now? As you can see, we're at your mercy.
Yes, you are. The question is, what do you want me to do with you?
Well, I mean, you could let us go.
No, realistically.
She just sort of stares at you and narrows her eyes a little bit, but doesn't say anything.
How many are injured aboard your vessel?
We took no casualties. Sure, I probably looked the worst of it, but as far as I know, no one is seriously injured.
Do you have small vessels or escape pods?
We do.
We have no problem helping you with your injured. However, we would like you to shut down all your systems and prepare for our arrival.
I would like you to roll me a presence command. Difficulty, spending my remaining threat, a difficulty 4.
Thanks, buddy. You're a pal.
Gotta use it, man. Use it or lose it.
Presence and command. Negotiation.
That would apply.
Let me get... You know what?
You do have
Okay.
4 momentum.
Let me get 3 of them.
Okay, so that's 2 additional die. Very nice. So you actually get 1 of that momentum back. All right. So the Orion captain says, "Very well. Our engines are disabled anyway. It's lucky that life support is even still functioning. We'll expect your arrival. We will offer no resistance."
Very well. And cut communications.
All right. So she vanishes from the screen.
So with that, I would like... we would take my security officer,
Mm-hmm.
probably 2 additional, meat shields,
Mm-hmm.
our doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and an engineer of my chief's choice.
Can we scan to see how many people they have on their ship?
I would say you would have gotten that when Morris did his scan. There's 5 people, including the captain.
And do we know about pheromones?
I think we do at this point in the timeline. But I'm looking at our actual time in real life. We've got about 14 minutes before people have to go. And this is pretty much the end of the adventure anyway. So what is your overall intent with these Orion? Are you going to throw them in the brig and take them back? What are you going to do with them?
I would assist those that are injured.
Mm-hmm.
While we would contact Starfleet to get further command or inform them of the situation. Ask for further instructions because we don't really have the ability to do long-term holding.
Okay.
So depending on theirs, it'd either be hey, we're taking your ship, we'll drop you off the nearest planet, whatever my direction is from Starfleet Command, and then if they want us to take the ship or not, be the next thing. We use some of them tractor beams and take that ship. If a lot of it is what Starfleet would want us to do with it once they were informed.
We might also want to maybe move it out of the way, power up the platforms, and see if we can find that other ship.
Well, that would come from if Starfleet would want me to chase them down. That would be something else too. They'd be informed.
Yeah. So let's play out that scene a little bit. So Staros opens up a comm line back to Starfleet HQ, and sure enough, appearing on screen is the gruff Admiral Jensen, and he smiles at you and says, Captain Voss, I take it you have good news for me.
Admiral, when we arrived, we discovered 2 Orion vessels attempting to take, and were successful in taking several of the weapons that were stored here.
I see. Do you have an accurate number about how many were taken?
We do not have a counting of 9.
I see. 9. You said Orion vessels. What is the status of those vessels?
1 escaped prior to us being able to negotiate or disable. The second is currently disabled, and I have 5 detainees.
Very well. I would like you to proceed to Starbase to drop off your prisoners, but otherwise, please make sure that the remaining warheads do not fall into enemy hands.
Very well, sir. And their vessel?
Destroy it too.
Very well, understood. At this point, while you have your on the screen, sir, have you heard anything about my executive officer's placement yet?
My understanding is that they are quite literally on the opposite side of the quadrant at the moment, some sort of logistical mix-up. They may not be to you for quite a while. You may wish to appoint an interim XO.
Very well, sir. Boss out.
All right. And so, our sort of final shot from a camera, if you will, is you guys dealing with the warheads and otherwise blowing up the Orion ship. But that is where we will bring session 1 of Avenger to a close. So, of course, thank you guys so much for playing, and of course, thank you to whoever's watching on stream for listening in or watching. Players stick around for a little bit longer, but this is where I am going to end the stream. So again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see these guys next Sunday. Bye-bye.